Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about car parts and today and I'll do this as like the first episode for like car parts talking about them. So the first car parts is pistons. So we'll talk over about the game once it gets started. It's taking a long time. It always does this. This airplane is actually bigger than the P-47 in real life too. So keep that in mind. Sorry, it's taking a long time. He does this. Oh, it started. All right, let me do this. I like when War Thunder updated this part adjustable fuel and quantity. No, we're not gonna do like episodes. I'll just tell y'all what car parts do, what certain stuff do, and stuff like that. So the first part, when like you building an engine, is called the engine block. The engine block houses all the parts and accessories so that your engine can can be run, can be cooled, and can be also used as a generator for the electricity on the insides of the car, hence the alternator. Engine, that's what the engine block does. These can vary from like cast iron forged block. Those are pretty good for handling power to like aluminum too. And one thing about metal is that metal expands when it's heated. So every time you turn the car off and you're wondering why it's creaking, the metal is actually shrinking down. The size is going back to its original size. That's why it's shrinking. So then we'll talk about. So then the next part is for crankshafts. The next part is so then once you get done assembling the crankshaft, you have the bearings, the crank bearings. So the crank bearings bears the pressure of the crankcase. Yeah, of the crankcase. I mean, of the crankshaft. I meant to say the bottom parts is called the crankcase. Like oil pan stuff. That's where it's called the crankcase. Sorry. So the bottom, that's what it is. So what the bearing does, it holds the crankshaft. It bears the pressure of the crankshaft, and that's what it really just does. Just bears the pressure of the crankshaft. Next, we'll talk about pistons. So pistons are are the things that go up and down. I'm just put it in term. I'm just put like simple. They the ones that create the vacuum on letting in the fuel, the fuel air mixture, the fuel air mixture in it. That's where it lets in. It's like a vacuum. So the camshaft opens the valves, then it vacuum, then it uses the vacuum suction. The piston does the vacuum suction because the bore is tight to to compress it once the valve closes. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all. So when air when you compress when air gets compressed, it gets hot because the molecules are actually touching together, they're rubbing together. So it's actually not the gas; it's the gas exploding though. But the gas is not flammable. I'm gonna know how to explain it. Gas is not flammable. It's flammable. I mean, but it's not going to combust. It's just a flammable thing. It can deal with the heat. It's just not. It's then the spark is going to set it because the air is already hot. So you can't. I mean, you could do it like cool. I don't know how to explain. I think I explained that really wrong. I don't know how to say it. But then the pistons, then the spark, and the sparks spark it up, and then once it get done, it goes back to the out the exhaust valves. So Then we'll talk about the piston rings. There are different types of rings. There are the compression rings, then there are the oil rings. The compression rings seals it. What the compression ring, how the compression ring is and how it's designed is that every time when you see people on YouTube grind the rings is because every time when metal, just like I said, metal being expanded, it gets hot. So then, just in case that, so the metals won't be touching together and the grooves won't be touching together for the piston rings. So it won't it won't mess up the rings, and then a blow by is going to come back. Blow by is when the piston, the exhaust gases goes by. I'm sorry, goes by the exhaust. I mean the piston rings, which seals it, which stops it from the blow by. That's where the exhaust gases, once it's done, goes by to the crankcase. So that's bad because it can make sludges. It can mess it up. It can mess it up. I'm gonna get to a part. I'm gonna get to that part where that helps it out a bit because it does actually happen. That's why the gap is there. It does actually happen for a tiny bit, but there's something that stops it. I'll get to that part. So, ooh, yeah, nah, I should study those. So the um the oil ring, the oil ring, the one I just described with the grooves and stuff like it, the ring is called the compression ring. So the oil ring, it just scrapes any oil in it, then it just out the cylinder, then it just scrapes it from the engine. Hold on, let me get this good. Scrapes. I wonder if I can get it. So it just scrapes it from the engine. Now I know it, let's pull up. What's the point of having fighting if you have all this energy? So that's what it does. So now we get on to the cylinder head. No, we get on to the gasket first. Sorry. What the gasket does is the gasket, it seals, again, it seals the gases, the pressure, the explosion from the engine to go inside and stop it from like blowing stuff up because it's so powerful. Well, it's not. Yeah, it does. That just stops the gas. It's not like blows. It's gonna cause some damage, but not that major damage. It just hold on. Look at that Corsair. So then, enemy kill assist. So then when I'm sorry, I forgot what I said. I was so focused. So the gasket, it seals the pressure from the pistons and stuff, pistons and the explosion, 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 and that's what it does. So now we get on to the cylinder heads. The cylinder head consists of this valve springs, retainers, and keepers. The springs are, springs, bounces back, and then the retainers is able to retain the position, and the keepers are to keep it in place. That's what the function really is, and that's where the camshaft resides. And it's also called a bump stick because it bumps the pistons down, the valves down to allow air fuel mixture to come in. Air fuel mixture to come in. So air fuel mixture to come in. Why did I play the game? Sorry, I'm just trying to get this. It's so hard when you trying to talk. Maybe I should have done this. I'm what? Come you almost killed him. Um, that's what I forgot what I was focusing on. I'm a good aimer. Just that I play a controller. It's just that maybe if I had a computer, this would have been easier. This would have been said and done. Once what side this would have been said and done. You know what? You know what? I hate using this because it just no. I see. That's why I don't like using that zoom in. How am I having a hard time, Emmanuel? Yes, that's my real name. My real name is Emmanuel. Oh, yes, my real name is Emmanuel. Yes, that's my name. So yes, come here. Control the situation. You have to control the situation. Man, hate doing this. Why you go run in a straight line when I could just do this? I hate when people do. Why you could just run in a straight line? I could have got him. I could have got him if I was paying attention. Yes, I have. Now let me finish you. Let me kill your pilot. He's not coming back. Anyways, let's get back to what I was saying. The cylinder heads consists the valves, retainers, keepers, and springs. And I said the retainers keep the position of when the springs bounce back, and it keeps the position. That's why it's called retainers and keepers. That's why it's on there. Retainers. That's two separate parts too. It's just that you can just call that one part. It don't matter. So then you have the camshafts, which sits on top of the things that I talked about. It's a bump stick, so it just bumps it. It opens the valves, opens the valves, and opens the valves. What I forgot? Yes. Opens the valves, and then opens the valves. I'm sorry. I forget. Imagine the straight line. Oh, that's it. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. All right. So before I run out, before I die in this game, yes, I did. I died. Well, we got enough time to talk about that. Hope y'all enjoyed that little gameplay. So now we can focus on what I was talking about. So the the camshaft, that's what it does. Now we're going to get into the other parts. So then after the camshaft, there's this thing called intake. So the intake, what it does is since the engine has vacuum in it, so it's gonna suck the vacuum through the it's gonna suck the vacuum through the intake. So then on the intake, there's a thing called mass airflow sensor. The mass airflow sensor senses the airflow coming in into the intake. And the manifold absolute pressure, which is by sometimes it's by the intake too, but it's like it's between the throttle position sensor and throttle position sensor and the manifold absolute pressure. The manifold absolute pressure, what it does is it hold on. It 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 senses the pressure like the vacuum when the piston is pulling. That's what manifold pressure means. So manifold pressure means so with it. So that's what what the sensor some of the sensors do. And then on the next video, I'll talk about all the sensors that comes out, what it does and stuff like that. like O2 sensor. It's a bunch of stuff. I don't really want to tell you because it's gonna be a long video. I'll just give y'all right now. Just give y'all the rundown and stuff. So the oil, the oil, the oil pump, the oil pump. What it does is it it sucks oil through the pickup tube, which is inside the oil pan where the oil is stored. So what it does is uses the vacuum pressure, uses the pressure from the such a beautiful airplane. From use the pressure when it's being the suction. You know how you know how you go into a cup with water and you try to pull it. You know how you like suck the air through a cup you got in your mouth. No homo. Pause. And it just holds it in place. That's actually what it's doing. So that's how oil pumps work. It's just a vacuum. Then it's gonna go through the oil filter, and then it's gonna go to the galleries of the oil. Then the oil is gonna seep down from the parts. That's how it really works. That's why you have to check your oil pressure because the oil. And so the problem is it goes to the galleries. The galleries can be big because since small space causes pressure, it can it can get weared out over time, and the pressure's not going to be low. So that's why you need high volume fuel pumps now because then it's going to keep the pressure going at a greater rate. And there's a bypass spring that controls the pressure of the oil, so you can tweak it how much oil that you want. I think before it like gets activated or something, how much you can tweak it, the oil, like the spring, how much you can tweak it on until so much oil can hit the thing so it can open. That's what I think it means. Like you need like that's what it is. You need like 70 pressure or higher to open the oil galleries valves. And the last part I want to talk about, there's more parts on here, is like the oil pan. Yeah, it goes on there. Yeah, there's the oil pan, and it has seals on it. Everything that you see sometimes on the engine has seals because the engine is nah, never mind. I forgot I was gonna say anyways. That's what it really is. That's what it really is. And then you have your fuel pump. The electronic fuel pump, how it works is electronic fuel pump, it runs through a DC motor. So what the DC motor do is it uses its suction. It's gonna suck it through a filter, the DC motor. And then sometimes there's a fuel pressure regulator inside. So how the DC motor works is it's gonna come to the side, then it's gonna take the oil, take the fuel, and it's gonna circulate it and push it to the other side of the fuel filter. And the fuel gets too much, the fuel goes inside the fuel pressure regulator. Is going to hit the spring, and it's going to let the fuel go inside the tank. And that's why you see two lines: the return and the put in. I'll call it put in line, the oil line. The fuel, not the oil, not the fuel oil, the fuel line. It's called fuel pump. Did I say oil pump? I say fuel pump. And yeah, that's really how stuff works. I'll tell y'all again. I hope y'all tell me if I should do this more. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Bye. That sounds weird.